Let's spend 30 minutes together staying sharp, doing some classical mat Pilates. First, you can cross one leg over the other, make some genie arms, and carefully sit on down. So always work through that neutral spine. You articulate down nice and slow. Find that lumbar neutral spine here. You can make yourself comfortable. And we're going to, of course, start with the 100. So inhale through the nose to prepare. Lengthen that body, pull the rib cage down, exhale, articulate up, and vigorously start pumping those arms. You really want to feel the lats. Ideally, you want to keep the toes right in a line with the eyes. However, if that is a little too aggressive for you, then you can lift your legs up. As you can see, I'm lowering my legs down. So I want you to inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, hollow breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are obviously doing this 10 times. Make sure your lower back is not arching. Again, you should feel your lats. Inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, hollow breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, nose, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, hollow breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see me lifting and lowering my legs a little bit so I can make sure my lower back stays extremely safe. Don't overfire your neck and your traps. Make sure your jaw is not clenching. Keep pulling those ribs together and slowly resist yourself back into that supine position all the way down. Allow yourself to take an inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Reach the arms up over your head and let's go for the Pilates rollover. Try to pump 3 times, dorsiflexion through those feet, and as slow as you can, articulate down 1 vertebrae at a time. Exhale, feeling that length through the fingertips. Inhale through the nose, exhale, round your spine into that spinal flexion. C curve, pump 3 times and roll down. So inhale to prepare, exhale, roll up. Fingertips nice and long, pump 3 times and make sure you're trying to hollow, scoop and lift through that midsection, through that core. Good, breathe, breathe, breathe. 1 or 2 more times, depending on where you are in your practice today. And that's exactly what it is. We are practicing, we are not going for perfection, but every single day we try to get a little bit better or a little more lengthened, create more intention and opposition. All right, moving on to the Pilates rollover. Inhale through the nose to prepare. Exhale, send those legs up and over. Pointing the feet, you can tap the toe if your lower back allows. Remember, don't overly round your spine. Just have that nice, it's not neutral, it's definitely flexion. Point the feet, flex the feet, and then roll down, pointing the toes into that leg circle. But you have to pay attention to your lower back and your hamstrings here. If your body allows you to touch the floor with your toes, great. Open the legs, flex and or point, leg circle, inhale to prepare, exhale, back up and over. Toe tap the floor, flex the feet. The hips are absolutely the width of my hips. And then leg circle to go up and over again. So I'm making sure that I create lots of space from my ribs to my hips. I'm not collapsing into my neck. I'm not collapsing down into my ribs. And I do have that C curve. But if you have herniation and or bulging discs or any major lumbar or sciatic injury and pain, always make sure you're consulting a doctor. Don't just, jump right into classical mat Pilates. Always make sure you feel safe. Moving on to the 1 leg circle or single leg circle. The most important thing here, drop the shoulders from the ears, pull the ribs together, the leg, point the toe, cross the body, and then your leg is making that circle. The leg that's on the floor, you're absolutely stabilized. The foot is in dorsiflexion, 3 in each direction, making the circles with that single leg. Once you've done 3 in each direction, you can go ahead and put that foot back. And again, drop the shoulders from your ears, pull the ribs together, flex, point, sweep down, up, and around. I have done this 2 different ways. There is a full circle like we're doing today, and or there's a shape of a D when you're running up your plumb line. So there are 2 ways. It just depends on what your teacher's teaching that day. Make sure that your ribs are not moving though. Make sure that you're moving with your breath. So it's an inhale to prepare, exhale, up, around, and down. You do want to make sharp, precise movements. That's the point. We're lubricating the hip joint here, the labrum, and getting some nice hip, just some movement in that hip. All right, moving on, we're doing rolling back and or rolling like a ball. Do try to round your spine. Do try to sit up on top of that coccyx and or that tailbone, chin to the chest, hollow, scoop and lift, round your spine. Today in my practice, I was actually going sideways. I would roll back and then I would end up kind of twisted. So maybe that's some lower back stuff, maybe that's some hip stuff. But again, today I was all about practice and not perfection. I was looking to see what my body was doing today. So 3 to 5 potentially. Now we're going to go for the one leg stretch or the single leg stretch pull, right? The outside hand can grip towards that ankle, the inside hand can grip towards the knee, and you're actually trying to create that opposition. Pull that knee in. Make sure your neck isn't doing the lifting with your shoulders, that the abs, the rectus abdominis, the powerhouse is lifting the head and shoulders off the mat. Moving on to double leg stretch. The most important thing here, inhale through the nose, exhale, arm circle, pull those knees in, try to get to the heels only if you feel safe enough to do so. Don't arch your back. That's what the most important thing is here. Cinch the ribs together. Inhale, length, exhale, arm circle around, pull the belly button to the spine. Again, we're not going for, 10. We're just going for potentially 3 to 5 here. Moving right along, we're going right into now the, what are we doing here? We're going to go for, single leg stretch potentially, or single leg pull versus that one leg stretch. So we did our double leg stretch. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Our legs are now long, creating that opposition. Again, if you can reach the hands up the leg, aiming towards the shin, the calf, the ankle, that's great. If you're just a back of the thigh, hamstring person, that is also okay. You don't want to overly yank on that hamstring. You want to make sure that you are feeling the pull, but you're not going to hurt yourself. All right, so we're going for inhale, lengthening both legs down, and exhale, lifting both legs up here. So if you have lower back stuff, the hands can slide underneath the bum. You saw me do that. I do not have injury in my upper extremities, and I'm very aware of not hyperextending my lower lumbar spine. So I was bringing my hands behind my head and doing a chest curl. Okay, so going into our little bicycle here. Inhale, I want you to think reaching the armpit towards the knee versus the elbow. Think about that spinal rotation. Inhale through the nose, armpit to knee, breathe. Really try to twist and then come right up. All right, let's create as much length as we can. We'll work on our spine stretch here. Sit up tall through those sit bones. Flex those feet, round the spine. Here's where spinal flexion comes in. I talked about herniated and bulging discs. The idea is that you don't want to overly push your spine into flexion if you have herniation, because that just pushes the disc into the nerve, and that wouldn't be safe for you. So always make sure that you're working with your own parameters and making sure that this workout and or movement and or practice is great for you and your body today. All right, so open leg rocker. You just saw me do a real advanced lift through the legs. I lifted my legs right up from that coccyx lifted position. So bend the knees if you would like, and then extend the legs, sitting up super tall through that tailbone. Heart center open. Try not to overly round the spine right now. Try to create that neutral spine. Chin is going to be, just lightly lifted up, shoulders retracted. If you are off balance today and you have to lower your feet back down, that's okay. Remember, it is a practice. If you are perfecting this for your own practice and your own method, great. But always remember, spinal articulation, inhale to prepare, exhale, roll back. You can also inhale on the back and then use that exhale to lift up onto that coccyx. That's fine. Create as much length through those legs as you can, right? I'm not buckling and hyperextending my knee. I'm creating lots of length. If you could attempt to do this by grabbing your toes, more power to you. This is very advanced. You're gonna see me let go of the toes because of safety. I don't want to compromise my neck and my lower back by forcing myself to hang on to the toes, but more power to you. I am 5'10", I'm nice and tall. So if I feel like I'm going to hurt myself, I will let go of my toes, but still try to maximize the practice, right? Try to maximize what you can do today. Shoulders are retracted, sitting up on that tailbone, and then articulate down nice and slow, finishing with that rocker with open legs or open leg rocker. Okay, so make sure the shoulders are absolutely retracted. Take the opportunity, inhale through the nose, exhale if your back feels safe. At the same time, lift the legs up, circle them around for corkscrew. We're going to pike up a little bit and then circle down and around, and then you can switch your circle. Add that pike like it's almost like a jackknife, but not really. And again, shoulders are retracted, rib cage absolutely cinched. Make sure that the ribs are not moving at all when your lower extremities add that circle for corkscrew. Go up, around, a little halfy jackknife, and then come up and around. All right, so we were just in spinal flexion. So now we're going to create lots of length here again for saw. So make sure that when you are adding this rotation, for example, I am pulling my right hip back at the moment when I'm sawing to the left. Sit up nice and tall, long, gorgeous spine. Saw to the right, pull the left glute back. So be mindful that the sit bones are anchored in whatever direction you're twisting. The opposite sit bone, hip, is pulling back and anchoring down. Lift your ribs up off your hips. Create as much side body space as you can. Lift up. Absolutely corset and zip up that rib cage. Drop the shoulders from the ears and don't twist from the neck. Really try to twist from the trunk and the thoracic spine and some lumbar, not from your cervical spine. Flex the feet. Make sure that the sit bones are heavily anchored, and we're working through our saw. All right, so again, we're going through flexion and extension here, back and forth, back and forth. Let's talk about swan dive. I have 2 yoga mats here. You can't really see that, but my hip bones and my pubic bone get real moody. I cannot do this without a real thick yoga mat, and I'm in a prone position here. Drop the shoulders from your ears. Your elbows are relatively tightish to the body. Fingertips, toes all the way down. I don't bring my legs together, so my lower back likes my legs apart and my toenails down. I'm gonna push myself up first without hyperextending my lumbar spine. So make sure that you're thinking long and lengthened. See how I pointed forward? Versus up, 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 up. So I want you to think about how long you can go. And inhale to prepare and start to teeter-totter, right? This is why the hip bones and the pubic bone need all this cushion and all this padding. All right, so now that we just did some extension in the spine, let's do the celebration stretch. This is Joseph Pilates' celebration stretch. The top of your head can go to the floor, round your spine, grab your heels. You know, the yogis, we call it, child pose, but with Pilates and Joseph Pilates, we call this more celebration stretch. All right, moving on, one leg kick. Shoulders back, proud chest, abs in, pull the belly button to the spine. Inhale, kick, kick twice, point the toe and resist the toe back down. Kick, kick twice, pull the hamstring curl. Heel coming right to the glute. Inhale through the nose. This is the one leg kick. Breathe, breathe, breathe. This helps prep us before we go into the double leg kick, right? That's coming next. That's subsequent to this one. So always think about lifting your body out, your head out of your body rather than just slouching, right? Interlace those fingers behind your back. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, double leg kick, and then go ahead and inhale through the nose. When you go into your extension, your legs will reach long and away from you. Your shoulders will roll back here. I'm still kicking. Now heart center open and then reach the fingertips. Again, double leg kick. Inhale on that extension. Kick, kick, recover. Neck goes from right to left. Opposition, heart center open. Roll the shoulder blades back and down. Inhale through the nose. Kick, kick, and lift. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So again, we're in extension in the spine right now, as you can see with Pilates. Extension, flexion, rotation. So important through your practice. And our celebration stretch again, because we just did that extension in the spine. So I want you to think about that spinal flexion, recovering your lower back, that thoracic, even the cervical a bit. Make sure you're absolutely not collapsing down into the head so you don't feel any compromise happening through that neck. All right, let's move on. We're going to go now into our thigh stretch. So tuck the tail under, pull the ribs together. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hinge back, chin down. As you rise up, bring the biceps to the ears and create lots of opposition through the fingertips. You can see as I rise up, my palms face each other, and as I hinge back, my palms face down. So this feels great for me. If you feel like you need to do something else with your rotator, absolutely fine. Just make sure your tail is tucking under. Pull your knees inwards, right? Zip the knees. My knees are not touching, by the way. They are absolutely underneath my hips, but in order to stay out of your kneecaps or your vastus medialis oblique muscle, just try to grip and internally pull through those adductors and that VMO muscle. So let's move on. All right, roll down as slow as you can. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Dorsiflexion through those feet. Bring the hands behind the head for neck pull. Inhale through the nose. Okay, you'll see me use some momentum here because neck pull is very aggressive when your hands are behind your head. The first one I did a little bit better, but by the time I got to the second one, I absolutely used momentum. If you have to just do your basic Pilates roll up here, that's fine. So I hinge back to failure. Once I hit failure, then I tuck the tail under and I articulate down slow. That is my own personal practice challenge, right? Round your spine. Don't overly yank on the neck. Yes, it's called neck pull, but always be mindful of your cervical spine. So hinge to failure. Whatever your core and your lower back allow, dorsiflexion through the feet, anchor the heels, inhale through the nose, and that I only did 2, right? That was enough because I caught myself using too much momentum. All right, we're going to move into our shoulder bridge here. So drop the shoulders from your ears, long, gorgeous. You can see me doing some pelvic tilts to release my lumbar spine a little bit. Inhale through bring the knees in tabletop. So this is one way to do it, okay? This is one way to do it. So this is, we're in somewhat of a shoulder bridge, but let's talk about what we're going to do first, which is, for the most part, we're going to go into bicycle, right? We're going to go into bicycle. So my hands are, as you can see, completely holding my hips up. My shoulders are retracted. This is where I said we were going into that bicycle. Do try to reach the toe to the floor if you have that capability. I'm not touching the floor today. I am trying for these long, gorgeous, scissor-like movements, but I want you to, this is all advanced work, so I want you to be super careful when you're doing this movement. You will see me go into this reverse direction. I want you to try to reverse this bicycle, but I also want you to try to do what's in your practice today. A lot of people can sweep their toe to the floor. I'm not doing that today. I'm just making sure I'm staying out of my neck. My wrists were actually kind of moody today, holding my hips up. So I want you to pay attention to what works best for you. All right, did you see what I just did? We held onto our hips and we floated our toes to the floor. You're going to try to do that as gracefully as you can. There was some collapsing going on, so be very careful. We are absolutely still in this hip bridge, but the ribs need to be down. Your tail is lifted up. Be careful with that hyperextension in your lower lumbar spine. And we're going to try to pull one knee in tabletop, extend the leg, flex on the down, and point on the up. Okay, flex the leg on the down, stopping knee to knee, point on the up. Flex on the down, hamstring stretch, and then abs, hip flexor, quad will fill a lot of this work, but do try to stop where the knees meet. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale. Again, 3 is plenty. Flex, opposite leg down, point on the up. Flex on the down, point on the up. Good, so make sure that you're not making one hip higher than the other. And then when you're done with that, go ahead and articulate down slow and then roll yourself back up to the top. Moving on here, going into a little bit of a rotation again, a spine twist. Okay, so try to create as much opposition through the crown of your head, please. Drop the shoulders from your ears. Sometimes you'll see palms down. Sometimes you'll see thumbs up. We're going through palms down today. Retract the shoulders out of your ears. Try to activate your lats and your triceps. Zip your ribs together. Lift your ribs off your hips and make sure when you're twisting, your hips are not moving. The hips need to absolutely stay stabilized and that one heel shouldn't be pulling back as you are twisting, okay? So pay attention to that if you can. All right, we should be going into perhaps jackknife here now. Drop the shoulders from the ears, use the momentum, go up and over. I use breath, but if you have to use momentum, right? Jackknife up. Pull it together here. And then exhale, roll down. So jackknife up. You don't have to bring, toes can go right over the eyes. Lower the legs back down. Inhale through the nose, articulate. Exhale, lengthen, spinal flexion, toes up, toes down. Flex the feet on the down. Inhale through the nose, point the toes. Inhale, and then good. Regroup right here. Drop the ribs down. Create that little lumbar safety here. And then roll right up to the top. Let's see. So we're going to go into our side kicks here. Let's go ahead and make sure that your shoulder, your elbow, are 100% in alignment with each other. Your body is folded in half, so shimmy your bum back. your bum back. Make sure your bottom leg is pitched forward. That bottom foot, you can anchor down and you can bring it into dorsiflexion. Make sure your top hip is not hiking towards your rib. Bring the top hand behind your head, point the toe, lift the leg up, and I want you to lengthen so you feel the hip flexor, right? And then pull with a pointed toe, sweep back, inhale through the nose, sweep forward, and then now we're going to add the dorsiflexion through the foot. Flex the foot, sweep back, right? Point the toe, sweep away. So again, I want you to feel like your lower rib is lifting up off the floor. I want your ribs to be cinched and corseted, and then flex that bottom foot. Point your toe, lift it to the sky, flex on the down. Point, split up. These are more adductors. Point on the up, flex the toe, sweep on the down. Point, lift. Good. So, and then lower back down. All right. So now we're going to sweep behind us, point that toe, and we're just going to do some small leg circles. So we're trying to go for your glute med here. We don't want to overwork. We just want to feel some nice warmth. Okay. So now we're going for these generous leg circles, as you can see. Make sure the hips are not moving though. That's part of the challenge. Make sure your hips are absolutely stable. And these are just big leg circles, back, up, around, and down. That glute med is working like crazy to keep the hips where they belong and to lift that leg up and then resist it back down in that leg circle. All right. So moving on, let's just go ahead and flip over to the other side. In your side lying position here, again, make sure that that elbow is absolutely in alignment with your shoulder. Pitch yourself sort of in half-ish. Hinge that butt back. Bring your heel forward. Flex that bottom foot. Point that top toe. Sweep it forward. And then if you want to flex the foot on the back and then pump 3 times and then sweep forward, right? So you see me pointing here. Sometimes there's some variation in your routine where you can flex the foot. I'm just going to keep pointing. So let's go back to your form. Side lying neutral spine. Make sure the hip is not hiking up. Point the toe. Sweep it up. Flex the foot. Heel to heel. Ballet first. Point the toe. Adductor. Lower it down. Heel to heel. Again, pull the ribs together. Keep the abs in. Once you've done your 3-ish, sweep that leg back behind you. Focus on your little baby circles. Glute med, glute medius, gluteus medius, and then go into these potentially 3 large leg circles. Make sure this leg doesn't dump below the hip. Do try to keep the leg the height of the hip when you come down, right? And so you're not going to overly pull on your lower back. Zip your ribs together and try to keep both hands behind your head. And of course, absolutely positively connect to your breath. So always make sure that you're connecting to your breath. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So sitting up on our coccyx right now, go ahead and feel like you can make some adjustments. You can get some water, breathe, breathe, breathe. And I'm just going to focus on sitting up nice and tall through my tailbone, realigning my spine, and then roll down into an articulation, okay? Roll down into that articulation. Let's go into your teaser. Long, gorgeous opposition here. Pull the ribs down. Try not to arch the lower back. Definitely no hyperextension in the lumbar. Neutral spine. Point your toes. Do your best. At the same time, lift your arms and your legs up. Okay, here's where it gets a little more advanced. You're going to bring your biceps to your ears, and then you're going to lower down slow. Inhale through the nose to prepare. Exhale right up on that tailbone. I think I can. Yep. All the way up onto that tailbone. You've got this. Biceps to ears, roll down slow, 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 slow. Minimize any collapsing that might accidentally happen. And lift back up onto that tailbone, biceps to ears. Now we're going to lower and lift the legs potentially 2 or 3 times. Okay, keep the biceps by the ears. I know it's hard. You've got this, and roll down nice and slow. Last time, biceps up, circle the arms around so we can go right into hip twist. This one was very hard on me today. Very hard. My quads were mad. I couldn't stabilize it very well. This should be brisk and quick. Slow and steady does not win the race here. You do want to be brisk. I was going slow, so do your best to go quick if you can, but maximize the form and the technique. Drop the shoulders from the ears. Keep the chin hanging down onto that grapefruit, and circle the legs 3 times in each direction, please. Whew, that was a tough one today for me at least. All right, again, we were just in our flexion position, so let's get back into extension. Swimming, if you can, create as much opposition as you can. If you can, pull the belly button off the floor. Boy, is that hard. Chin down, neutral spine, and kick, 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 kick. Long, gorgeous arms. Again, don't hyperextend the lumbar spine. I'm pretty flexible, but don't worry about the height. Focus on the length, okay? Always focus on the length. That's the most important thing. Okay, that was in prone position. Now we're back in our celebration pose, Joseph Pilates celebration pose. Top of the head to the mat. Round your spine to help our lower back if you felt any tension in that swimming position. So, gave ourselves a little flexion to release that lower back. Moving on. So, I believe we should be going on to leg pull front here. Yep. So plank position, extend one leg, point the toe, and rock forward and back. Dorsiflexion and pointing through that stabilizing foot that's on the floor. Create opposition through that toe that's pointed, that arabesque leg. Keep your head up, pull your ribs together, watch any rounding in that upper spine, and be careful. It is not your wrist's job to hold your life up. Use your chest muscles, use your back muscles. Okay, this is tricky here. First, I was going to face the wall on accident. So you see me moving my hand in the wrong direction. Then I'm like, face the camera. Come on, pay attention. So then you see me readjusting my hands the other way so I actually face the camera. This is advanced. Do not ruin your rotator cuff doing what you just saw me do for now, leg pull, okay? Leg pull. So this is kind of like a reverse plank, everyone. This is very wristy. You're gonna see me holding it here for a little while. Drop the shoulders from your ears. Try not to buckle your knee here. For you hyperextenders, you hypermobile people where you love to lock that knee, you cannot lock the knee. Use your abs and lift that leg straight up, pause and hold, and lower it back down. Give me some gorgeous length. Lift that head out of the body, drop the shoulders, don't buckle the elbows. Use your abs and lift that leg up. And always pause and hold. Pilates is about the connection. You don't want to rush through it. You always want to be mindful about making that connection. Okay, again, going in from one wristy thing to another. Be careful with your wrists here. Side kick, kneeling, hand behind your head, close the ribs, create lots of length through your hip flexor. Make sure you're not too close to a wall so you don't kick anything. Try to bring that back leg behind you. You saw me sweep 3 times. Now you see me doing some leg circles. Okay, now we're going to bicycle. I would crumble if I wasn't focusing. So it's very hard to breathe and talk and do all of this work. So I'm doing the voiceover today, obviously. So you don't hear me panting in the microphone, although you might. So make sure you do 3 bicycles in each direction and we'll tick-tock to the other side. For some reason, this direction today, it was tough. See how I move my leg? Watch what I just did, okay? So it was very hard for me to keep that leg behind me today. I don't know what's going on with my hip or my lower back, but don't force yourself into something. I forced myself for the filming, for the camera. But you at home, you in studio, practicing, this is practice, not perfection. Make sure you don't hurt yourself, putting yourself in a position to try to, make our body feel better. So as you see, I was doing some sweeping. Hopefully you're following along with me while I talk. But we're going into now side bend, lots of wrists. So if you have wrist issues, hang in there, do the best you can. This is tough. I would fall over again if I wasn't concentrating. Stacking the feet is tough. So if you need to stagger your feet in your practice today, not the end of the world, right? This almost reminds me of Cleopatra, but it is not. This is our side bend series for our classical mat work. So inhale through the nose to prepare. Exhale, 3 lift and lowers entirely, and then it's 3 hip dips. Boy, is this hard. So do the best you can, okay? Especially if your wrist is starting to fatigue. Flip over to the other side. Make sure that wrist is directly underneath the shoulder. Watch any hyperextension in the elbow. Come down, bend the knees. Exhale, lift up. Bend the knees, lower the hips. Inhale to exhale, lift up, right? Inhale, and then we're going to go into hip dips. And again, this is tough, guys. Lots of obliques, lots of side laterals. Do your best with your feet and your wrists, and watch your shoulder. Try not to collapse into your rotator cuff. Use your lat. Roll out your wrists if you need to. Okay, we should be going into boomerang right now. We should be going into boomerang. All right, always readjust yourself. Get water. Do what you need to do. Sit up nice and tall. You see me roll my wrists out again. That was super wristy. All those in a row. Add some spinal flexion and use your momentum to go up and over And then you're going to cross the legs when you're up and over. Bring yourself into this forward fold position. Lift, round, up and over, switch your legs. And then hollow, scoop and lift, reach your arms behind you, interlace your fingers, reach behind you. If you don't want to interlace your fingers because of rotator issues, you absolutely do not. Again, an abbreviated boomerang. Let's go into seal. Seal was not my best work today. You're going to see me hit the floor, then you're going to see me roll back and then change my feet. Again, today was really some practice for me instead of perfection. So you know what? I am a student of Joseph Pilates' work. Every day I want to do my very best in regards to how I feel in my body, and I hope you do the same. So focus on your practice, not your perfection. Seal. Okay, so we're rounding our spine, getting ready to do crab. Grab those feet. Again, not my best work today. I was slipping and sliding and moving and shaking all over the place. Round your spine, go back. Now switch your feet. It's a little messy today. Do the best you can for crab. Crab is tricky because I don't want you to collapse into your neck. I never want you to collapse into your neck. Always make sure your shoulder bridge is holding you up. Your shoulder is never your neck. Round your spine, right? And we're articulated back into that. Moving right along, control, balance is coming. But let's go ahead, going back into a little extension here. So a little extension. So I want you to try to teeter-totter. This is called rocking, you guys. Control balance is next. Rocking, shoulders back, proud chest. Watch your neck. Don't throw your head back. If you literally get like an inch down and an inch up, awesome. Just don't hurt your lumbar spine trying to go into an Olympian, gymnastic pose. Be careful with that Olympic move with your spine. Okay, so breathe, breathe, breathe. Let's take it up and over. And let's go ahead and try to create as much length as we can. Grab one leg for this control balance and then switch. I'm trying to grab my toes every single time and point my toes and straighten my legs and stay out of my neck and retract my shoulders. And it's a lot, right? So roll like a ball to the top. You've got this. Use momentum. Now, push up, last but not least. We're rounding third here, guys. Walk out into your plank position, elbows tight into the body. You're gonna see my elbows wide here on the first one, but it's more like a chaturanga or a tricep push-up. Try to do 3 big walkouts, right? Elbows tight. See how I said bring your elbows in real narrow, arms up. Round your spine or circle the arms around. Walk yourself down into that plank position, or, sometimes we call it control balance, or, I say sometimes front support facing back, that sort of thing, but that's from the reformer. Roll up, last but not least, try to do 3. 1, walk, 2, walk, 3, walk with your hands, chaturanga. If you cannot get your chest to the floor today, we're trying for 3 push-ups right now, that's okay. Just keep your head in alignment with the spine. So you did 1 push-up, then 2 push-ups, then 3 push-ups, and we made it. Curtsy, give yourself a bow, give yourself, I did this today, 30 minutes-ish. Roll those wrists out. Be grateful. Send some love to your body and yourself, and have a wonderful day or night.